Welcome, fellow bookworms, to TBR's Den. My name is Whitney, and today we have round 4 of Once Upon a TBR Hunny Jar. So this will be what I'm reading for April of 2023. And yeah, I absolutely love my game. Now, last month I did roll a die instead of pulling the disc. That did really help getting me a smaller number of books, but I really like pulling the disc. And it's not a huge deal for me if I don't finish my TBRs. Having a large TBR, very ambitious TBR, pushes me to read a little bit more. It's just I'm not getting those rewards, which is fine because the rewards I just get to skip a honey jar prompt anyway, which I don't really want to do. So I think my plan is to go back to the disc, even though that does tend to create this just massive TBR for me. That's kind of what my plan is. Now, as far as my genre-thon books, that announcement video will already be out, but I'm going with The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien because the prompt is it's time for spring to read either a fantasy or a fairy tale book. And since neither one of those genres are necessarily outside my comfort zone, I decided to go with a book that I've been putting off reading for a very long time because I'm just slightly intimidated by it, which I don't know why because it's not that long and I was kind of like skimming through. And the writing's really not all that like intimidating either. So, um, yeah, I don't know why I'm so intimidated by this, but we're finally biting the bullet and we're gonna read this. I do really enjoy the movies. I think because the movies are on such a grand scale, I think that's kind of what intimidates me a little bit. But yeah, as far as fantasy, I really like light fantasy, fantastical elements, nothing too in depth. And I think, when I think The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, I think like old school fantasy and kind of very in depth, and I think that's what gets me. So that's my choice, just kind of going outside my comfort zone a little bit, trying to push myself, even though fantasy itself is not outside of my comfort zone. And then for fairy tale, that's not outside my comfort zone. I was going to try to get this book on my TBR anyway, so I'm just doing it for Genre-thon as added incentive. And if I can also make it fulfill a prompt for my TBR game, I'll do that as well, because this is over 800 pages, but it's Winter, which is the 4th book in the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. So, generally, my main genre-thon book, I don't use it to fulfill any prompts, but if I have an extra one, if I can fulfill a prompt, I'm definitely going to do that. Just again to try to keep the books down to a manageable number, even though we all know me by at this point. I can't help myself. So those are the 2 for my genre-thon books. I do have several set over here, mostly part of series, and then a few that I just really want to read. So I want to finish up with the 3rd book in the Regency Fairy Tale series by Olivia Atwater, Longshadow. I really just love these series. It's really quick and easy, so I'm hoping I can get this on my TBR as well. Then I want to continue the Old Kingdom series, and so that's Lyrael by Garth Nix. I read Sabriel in January, I believe, and really, really enjoyed it. So I immediately got the 2nd and the 3rd one, and I definitely want to continue on with this series. So I'm hoping to get that on my TBR. Got the 3rd one in the Finlay Donovan series, so Finlay Donovan Jumps the Gun by Elle Cosimano. Really want to get that one, and again, these are all pretty short and should be easy to read. I just read Raybearer in February. I would really like to read Redemptor next, so I'm hoping to get that one on there. I listened to this one in February, Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. Loved it so much. Really want to read it physically. This one's kind of lower on my list since I did just listen to it, and it would kind of be like a reread for me. This one's lower on my list as far as priorities, but I would really like to get to it and read it physically. This one, I tried to squeeze in on February. There was just no way. And that's Lots Away by Darcy Little Badger. This one I just really, really want to read. Again, since it's not continuing a series, it's a little bit lower priority. And then I read The 6 Crimson Cranes in February, and so I really would like to read The Dragon's Promise by Elizabeth Lim and continue that series. I really, really enjoyed The 6 Crimson Cranes. So, And then we have the Four Horsemen series. I loved Pestilence so much. It was really easy read, and so the next one in that series is War, and this is by Laura Thalassa, and definitely this is like a high priority to get on there. I want to read this for sure. And then the second one in the War of Lost Hearts series by Carissa Broadbent, Children of Fallen Gods. I reread Daughter of No World in February. I originally listened to it a while back and reread it physically in February, so now I want to continue on with that series. So those are the books I'm hoping to get on to my TBR officially as far as my game goes. And so yeah, before we get into my game, there were 2 books that I did not read. There was 3 books I didn't get to officially from my game. One of them I did roll over. The other 2 I decided not to, and that was Fatal Tides by Iris Johansen. And for that, it was The Little Mermaid Deal with the Devil. And so this one is going back into the Hunny Jar, since I did not roll that one over. And the other one was Pocahontas, Peacemaker, or Diplomat, and that was Jade, Fire, Gold by June C.L. Tan. And I decided not to roll that one over either. And so these 2 are both going back into the Hunny Jar, just because, like I said, if I don't roll them over, I want those prompts available. So I'm going to kind of separate them out here a little bit. So that way I can just kind of mix around and hopefully get some more. I still have some more I want to add to this. I've been making a list. I just need to sit down on the computer and do them. But I need to get the 101 Dalmatians in here, the Aristocrats in here, and there's some others that I want to put in here, and just some extra prompts that I've been noting down as I watch other people. So there's the Hunny Jar prompt, or the prompts for the Hunny Jar. And so let me go ahead and get my game board set up. Like I said, I am going back to pulling out the disc because I just like that better. I enjoy it a lot more. And I will be right back with that footage. Alright, so first we have to choose our character. So just a little reminder, if we get a 1, it's Christopher Robin, a coming of age or a middle grade and younger. 2 is Pooh, it's a classic or a comfort read. 3 is Piglet, that's an auto by author or a reread. And 4 is Rabbit, and so that is a free choice. So let's go ahead and see who we get here. 2, so that is Pooh, which is a classic or a comfort read. Okay, and then again for genres, if we land on blue, it's a sci-fi. Yellow is historical. It doesn't have to be fiction. It can be fiction or nonfiction. Green is fantasy, red is romance, orange is mystery or thriller, purple is any genre, and if we land on black, we move forward 3 spaces and use that genre for that color, and we also have to pull 2 Hunny Jar prompts, minus the final black square, because I can only move forward 2 spaces, or the square up here in the corner that's black, because that one is a special square. You can go back to Pooh's bench. So I would just go use that orange genre. So that's that. Let's go ahead and do our first pull here. This one. That is red. So we'll go ahead and just set that there. That first one there. And get our Hunny Jar prompt. So we need a romance that. This one. Ooh, nice. So I have a free pick of any romance. So that's always nice. Okay, let's see what we get next. So we got, I grabbed 2. Ooh, perfect, a purple. It's not moving very far, but there's purple. So any genre that, this one. Okay, so it can be any genre, but it needs to be a reread. So we got that one. Okay, hopefully we can move a little bit farther on this. So let's see what we get. Got this one, another purple. So right up here. So again, any genre that it needs to. Go with this one. Okay, so this is Tarzan, and so it's seeking parental approval, but it can be any genre, which is helpful because that's kind of a hard prompt there. All right, let's see what we got next. Another purple. It's the round of purples. So there. So again, any genre. Go with this one. Okay, so this is Goldilocks. So keep trying, a second chance author. Again, kind of a harder one, so I'm glad it's any genre. Okay, let's see here. Oops. All right, let's see what we can do. Hopefully we start moving a little farther and stop getting the purples. All right, a yellow. Okay, good. That's a good leap ahead. So yellow is historical. So we need a historical, which go more towards the outside here. Okay, so we have Gopher, and so a historical self-proclaimed expert. So just kind of like a know-it-all or a historical that's kind of talking about something specific. See what I can find there. All right. Hopefully we can get another big jump here. And we got an orange, so mystery or thriller. Unfortunately, not moving very far. But a mystery or thriller, which has this one. Okay, so this is Elsa and Anna, so frozen, so it needs a frozen or cold landscape. That is definitely doable. All right, hopefully we're get some bigger jumps because we're already up to 7 books, not including my genre-thon books or anything I'm participating in. So there's this. So another red. Again, not moving very far. So we need a romance that. Go with this one. Okay. A romance with warring nations. This is Mulan. So, okay. Let's see. Come on. On an orange one. Okay, so this is sit on a bench. So this is a special square. So I don't have to follow the genre prompt. So it could be any genre. And it just needs to go with this one. So this is The Lion King, so Simba and Nala, and it's lessons learned. I really hope we start moving. I should have probably stuck with the die. With this one, so that's a yellow. So again, historical. Again, not moving very far. So we need a historical, which with this one. So another bookworm. Ooh. So 7 sins or virtues. So we'll randomize the 7 sins or virtues, and I'll do a historical based on that. This one might be one I can't do the genre. I'll have to just do the honey jar prompt because that sounds like it's going to be difficult. So, all right. I'm getting nervous. So we're going to do this. So another purple, the month of purples. And again, not moving very far. So again, any genre, but it needs to go with this one. Ooh. So Bambi, animal main characters. Let's see what we can do here. Okay, this one. Ooh, finally a blue one. But again, we're not moving very far. Just right there. Who spun around? So we need a sci-fi, which go with this one here. Oh, so this is one of the ones I put back. So we need a sci-fi, which has a peacemaker or diplomat. So I think that's gonna be doable. All right, come on. I hope we can move a bit farther than we have been. See what we get here. So green, not moving very far. Just right there. So green is fantasy, so we need a fantasy that... Go with this one. Ooh! Fantasy with a healing aspect. We have Rapunzel here. Alright, let's see what we can do. So another yellow, so another historical, which that one does jump us up a little bit anyway. So a historical, which... Go with this one. Okay, we got another Goldilocks. So it needs to be a UK author or setting. Alright. And we got a red here, so that jumps us a fair amount forward. So we need a romance that... go here. Ooh, okay. So we got Snow White, so we need a romance with the number 7 rep. And we got another red. So let's see. So this is a special square, but it's Piglet, and we're not playing Piglet, so it doesn't count. So we still need a romance that... Go with this one. Okay. Ooh, nice. So a romance that's just a free pick. I'll take that. I think we have 4 free picks as far as bookworms, and I got 2 of them, so that's nice. Oops, wrong one. We need to pull our disc next first. Okay, so we'll go with this one, and we get an orange. Ooh, that jumps us right close to the end. So we need a mystery or thriller that... Go with this one. Ooh. Okay, so we need a mystery or thriller that is YA or middle grade outcast. That might be hard to do, so we might have to just do the Hunny Jar prompt, but we'll see what I can find. Okay, so we need either a black, a blue, or a red. Otherwise, we just keep pulling till we get one of those. So, but then the game's over. Okay, so yellow. Doesn't count. Then we got an orange. Doesn't count. And, oh, perfect, red. So we made it to the North Pole, so we need to find a romance that... This one. Ooh, okay. So we got Cinderella, so a romance that's an inspiring read. So, all right. So that is the game. I'm going to go ahead and see what I can find, and I will be right back to show you my picks. All right, we got our books picked out. So total this for April, I have 20 books. It equals 7,980 pages, which is crazy. But broken down, I would need to read 266 pages a day, which is doable for me. Generally, I can read like a 300 and some page book in an evening. So that is doable, but it is going to be pushing it a lot. So we'll see what we can do, but let's go ahead and get into my picks. So first, of course, we had our character prompt. So we rolled a 2, which was Pooh, and that's a classic or a comfort read. So for this one, I went with Finlay Donovan Jumps the Gun by Elle Cosimano. This one, the series as a whole is very light and fun, and just easy reads. And so to me, this would be a perfect book to pick up if I was having a bad day, get like a comfort food, pick this up and just sit and read this. So that's why it fulfills that comfort prompt for me. In the series, you have Finlay Donovan, and she is a writer and a single mother of 2. She recently got divorced from her husband, and she's talking to her agent in a Panera, and somebody overhears her talking about the plot of her book and thinks she's a killer for hire and slips her a note. So at the end of each book, she gets another note, and so the shenanigans just keep continuing. So like I said, this is a perfect light, easy read if you're just having a bad day and you just need something comforting. So that's why I went with that for my Pooh prompt. Then we got a red disc. So red is romance. And we got a bookworm, and we got free pick, which is perfect. Always like a free pick. I have, I think, 4 free picks in there, and we got 2 of them this round. So for this the genre is technically sci-fi fantasy, but there is romance in there. And for me, as long as there is a subgenre or an aspect of it that focuses on that, I'm all for it. And so I'm put Winter by Marissa Meyer on. So this one, in the synopsis, it says, Winter despises her stepmother and knows Levina won't approve of her feelings for her childhood friend, the handsome palace guard Jason. And so, that aspect, that little romance between them. And in the other books, the characters have developed a little bit of romance as well. It's not at the forefront or anything like that, but it is there. So I'm going to count it. This is going to be the biggest book. It's 823 pages. So, but it is why it does read really quickly. So yeah, really excited to finish out the main series. And then, like I said, I have Levina's story and then some of the little side stories as well. That I'll be able to get to later on. But really, really excited. The Lunar Chronicles, I think I already mentioned this when I was talking about my Genre-thon books, because I'm including that for that as well. Is you have, it's based on like sci-fi fairy tales. So in the first one you have Cinder, she's a cyborg, and then you have Prince Kai, and the Lunar Queen Levina is threatening war on Earth if he doesn't marry her. And so throughout, you have Scarlet and Wolf, and they're kind of teaming up, and then you have Cress, who's based on Rapunzel, and now you have Winter, who's based on Snow White. So a lot of fun. Really been enjoying this series as a whole. So excited to wrap it all up. Then we got a bunch of purples, which purple is free choice, so that is always nice. So we pulled the first purple disc, got another bookworm, which this one is to reread a book. Sorry, it's a little blurry there. So for reread, I am going to be going with To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. This is going to be a reread from my childhood. I haven't read it since I was in school, but I remember really enjoying it. And I picked this up years ago, planning on rereading it, and I never have yet. So that's the plan now. I'm going to reread this and see what I think of it as an adult. So that is my reread. Then we got another purple, so another free genre. And for this one, we got Tarzan, and we got Seeking Parental Approval. So this one, again, maybe a little bit of a stretch. I don't know how much it works, but based on the synopsis, I'm going to go with it. So I chose Longshadow by Olivia Atwater. So it says, the marriageable young ladies of London are dying mysteriously, and Abigail Wilder intends to discover why. Abigail's father, the Lord Sorcerer of England, believes that a Dark Lord of Fairy is involved, but why Abigail is willing to match her magic against Lord Longshadow, neither her father nor high society believes that she is capable of doing so. So I'm kind of taking that as she's trying to prove herself to her father, and show that she can do this, which to me, that's kind of seeking parental approval. So I've really loved this series. This is another one that could have fit for like a comfort read, really light and easy and just fun. And it is really Regency meets fairy tales. And I've loved every single one. I read Half a Soul for my birthday month and fell in love with it. The second one, which is 10,000 Stitches, wasn't quite as good as Half a Soul, but still really, really good. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in here and if I enjoy it just as much as I have the other two. So that is for that one. Then we got another purple. So it's definitely the month of free genre and romance for sure. So this one we got Goldilocks, and we got Keep Trying a Second Chance Author. So for this one, I decided to go with Betrayed by PC and Kristen Cast. So I got the first one, which is marked. This is a House of Night series. I got the first one as a gift from my husband's sister-in-law, and I had some issues with it. I liked the story overall, but I didn't particularly like the writing. And so I found a bunch of the series at their store, went ahead and picked it up because I did want to give it another try, and I figured I could always donate them back if I read the second one and I'm really not feeling it, but I just haven't picked it up since then, so we're gonna do that now. And basically in this one you have Zoe, and they get, like, in this world they get marked as like vampires and such, and then they get sent to this special school, and there's kind of something deeper going on in the school. So really excited to see if this one is any better than the other one. Like I said, there was aspects I really enjoyed, but the writing I really struggled with, so we'll see what I think of this one. So there is that. Then we got a yellow, which is historical. So we got that. And for this, we got Gopher, which is self-proclaimed expert. Now, again, I might be stretching this one just a little bit, but we're going to go with it, because I decided to go with Smoke Gets in Your Eyes and Other Lessons from the Crematory by Doughty. Now, this one, she talks about the history of undertaking. So that's why I'm going to count it. It is more of a memoir, but she, on the synopsis, it says she talks about the history of undertaking. So I'm going to count it. So it says, armed with a degree in medieval history and a flair for the macabre, Doughty took a job at a crematory and turned a fascination with death into her life's work. She cared for bodies of every color, shape, and affliction, and became an intrepid explorer in the world of the dead. In this best-selling memoir, brimming with gallows humor and vivid characters, she marvels at the gruesome history of undertaking and relates her unique coming-of-age story with bold curiosity and mordant wit. By turns hilarious, dark, and uplifting, Smoke Gets in Your Eyes reveals how the fear of dying warps our society and will make you reconsider how our culture treats the dead. So, I have been following her YouTube channel for years, and I am just so excited to finally read one of her books. I have another one too, but I figured this one would fit for history, since it does say it talks about the history of undertaking. So we're going to go with it. There's that one. Then we got an orange, which is a mystery slash thriller. And for this one, we got Frozen or Cold Landscape, because we got Elsa and Anna there. So for this one, I'm going to do a romantic suspense, because I was looking at my mystery and thrillers and none were really catching my attention. Some of them I thought maybe, but I didn't know for sure if it was cold setting. And this one's a reread for me, and I know the bulk of it is in winter in Montana, and I remember the snow and such. So I'm rereading Montana Sky by Nora Roberts. So in this one, you have three sisters. Their father dies. They didn't grow up together. They're half sisters. Their father dies and brings them together, and they have to live together, I think, for a year, on this Montana ranch. But somebody is, I think there's like some murder and such, but somebody is basically trying to sabotage. And so, yeah, I'm excited to reread this. I've been trying to read at least one Nora Roberts book each month to work my way through now that I have the entire collection. So this is going to be the one for April, so it works. Then we got another red, so another romance. And for this, we got Mulan, so we got Warring Nations. And I had the perfect book for this. So I'm going to go with War by Laura Thalassa. So in this one, you have War. He's the second of the four horsemen that's come into the world. And obviously, he brings war to the world. And so, yeah, that's why I'm going to be going with this one. So this one says, the day Jerusalem falls, Miriam Almadi knows her life is over. Houses are burning, the streets run red with blood, and a traitorous army is massacring every last resident. There's no surviving this, especially not once Miriam catches the eye of War himself. But when the massive and terrifying horseman corners Miriam, he calls her his wife, and instead of killing her, he takes her back to his camp. Now Miriam faces a terrifying future, one where she watches her world burn town by town, and the one man responsible for it all is her seemingly indestructible husband. But there's another side to him, one that's gentle and loving and dead set on winning her over, and she might not be strong enough to resist. However, if there's one thing Miriam has learned, it's that love and war cannot coexist, and so she must make the ultimate choice: surrender to war and watch humankind fall, or sacrifice everything and stop him. So, for your war, perfect for the war prompt. So even though it's not like technically nations necessarily, I'm sure it fits. It works. Then we have another mystery thriller, and for this one we got lessons learned. So for this one, let's see here. Oh, okay, that's right. But on this one, it was orange, but to sit on the bench, so it was a special square, and so I don't have to follow the genre on this one. It can be any genre since it was a special square. I was like, this one's not a mystery or thriller, but that's right, because it was a special square. I don't have to follow that, so it just has to be lessons learned. So for this one, I chose Redemptor by Jordan Fuego. This is the second in the Raybearer duology. So it says on this one, basically, she's trying to appease the sinister spirits of the dead, and these ghost children are calling, like, they haunt her, demanding that she pay for the past sins of the Empire. So it kind of is about the past sins of the Empire and how moving forward they can do better. So it kind of faces, lessons that they learned from the past and what they can do going forward for this Empire. So I'm going to count it for that. So that's what I'm going with. Then we got another yellow, so another historical, and this one was Seven Sins or Virtues. And for this one, I'll insert a screenshot, but I got the sin of wrath. So this one, I'm kind of stretching it. It's not technically a historical, kind of like I did with Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. I chose The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones for this one. So it says, a tale of revenge, cultural identity, and the cost of breaking from tradition. So tradition, again, history. In this latest novel from the Jordan Peele of horror literature, Stephen Graham Jones, seamlessly blending classic horror and dramatic narrative with sharp social commentary, The Only Good Indians follow four American Indian men after a disturbing event from their youth, so again, history, puts them in a desperate struggle for their lives. Tracked by an entity bent on revenge, these childhood friends are helpless as the culture and traditions they left behind catch up with them in violent and vengeful ways. So vengeance is, kind of fits with wrath in my mind. So that's what I'm going with for that. Then let's see here. We got another purple. So again, any genre. And for this one, we got Bambi. So it just needs to have an animal main character. So for this one, I decided to go with The One and Only Ivan by Catherine Applegate. This will be my first by this author. Obviously, she's really popular right now with Otter, which I really want to get my hands on as well. But I have this one. I found it at a thrift store. So Ivan is an easy-going gorilla living at the Exit 8 Big Top Mall and Video Arcade. He has grown accustomed to humans watching him through the glass walls of his domain. He rarely misses his life in the jungle. In fact, he hardly ever thinks about it at all. Instead, Ivan thinks about TV shows he's seen and his friends Stella, an elderly elephant, and Bob, a stray dog. But mostly, Ivan thinks about art and how to capture the taste of mango or the sound of leaves with color and a well-placed line. Then he meets Ruby, a baby elephant taken from her family, and she makes Ivan see their home and his own art through new eyes. When Ruby arrives, change comes with her, and it's up to Ivan to make it a change for the better. So, yeah, I'm really excited to try this author. This, like I said, will be my first. So, really excited for that. Then we got Blue, and we got one that got put back in because I did not complete it last month. This is Pocahontas as its Peacemaker or Diplomat. So we need a sci-fi with that. So for this one, I'm going to be reading the second book in the Freedom or Kateni series, Freedom's Choice by Anne McCaffrey. So I read the first book in the series in February. I had actually started the series backwards because I started with book 4 last year, then read book 3, and then I finally got the first 2 in the series. So last month I read book 1, and now I'm going to read this one. And this one kind of fits because you have this group that's dropped on this new planet to see if it can be inhabited at all. And so basically you have the Kiteni, who are like a alien race that kind of takes over planets, like invades them and enslaves the races from those planets. So you don't just have humans, you have other alien races as well. And one of the contending gets dropped with this group. And so he's kind of acting as a diplomat and in between this group and the Kiteni. So that's why I'm in accounting it for that. I think it works perfect for that. So, and then I'll be able to finally have the whole series read. Next we got Green, which is fantasy, and for this one we got Rapunzel, so we need a healing aspect. And I have to admit, I kind of struggled with this one a little bit, and I decided to go with A Magic Steeped in Poison by Judy Island. This one, I'll read you the synopsis. So for Ning, the only thing worse than losing her mother is knowing that it's her own fault. She was the one who unknowingly brewed the poison tea that killed her mother. The poison tea that now threatens to also take her sister Shu. When Ning hears of a competition to find the kingdom's greatest Shinong Shi, masters of the ancient and magical art of tea making, she travels to the imperial city to compete. The winner will receive a favor from the princess, which may be Ning's only chance to save her sister's life. But between the backstabbing competitors and the bloody court politics and a mysterious and handsome boy with a shocking secret, Ning might actually be the one in more danger. So she's trying to find a way to heal her sister. So that's why I'm going with that one. Then we got a yellow, so another historical, and this one is origin, UK author, or setting, since originally Goldilocks and the Three Bears was a British fairy tale. So for this one, I actually had the perfect book. I am going to be reading Orphan Monster Spy by Matt Killeen. And it says right here, Matt Killeen was born in Birmingham in the UK. So, for that author. And in this one, let's see here, it says Germany, 1939. After her mother is shot at a checkpoint, 15-year-old Sarah finds herself on the run from a government that wants to see her, along with every other Jew, dead. Then she meets a mysterious man who needs Sarah to pull off a spy mission he can't attempt on his own. Infiltrate a boarding school tended by the daughters of Nazi top brass, befriend the girl whose father is a high-ranking scientist, and find the blueprints to a bomb that could destroy the cities of Western Europe. With years of training from her actress mother in the art of impersonation, Sarah thinks she's ready, but nothing prepares her for her cutthroat schoolmates, and soon she's embroiled in a battle for survival unlike any she'd ever imagined, and fighting to hold on to her true self. So excited for this one. I found this at the thrift store, and yeah, I've been wanting to read it, so I'm excited I can finally get it on here. Next, we got another red, so another romance. And we got Snow White, which is the number 7 rep for the 7 dwarves, of course. So for this one, I'm going to be reading, or rereading since I listened to it via audio in February, Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. And this one ends on page 317. So you have that number 7. Can see that there. So yeah, it ends on page 317. So that's where I got the number 7 from, and I'm excited to read it physically because I really did enjoy it via audio, but I do miss out on stuff because that's not my preferred method to consume books. And then we got another red. Like I said, purples and reds were the discs today. And we got another Bookworm, which was a free pick, so just any romance that I wanted. And so for this one, I'm going to continue with my Lisa Kleypas journey, and I'm going to be reading Stranger in My Arms. I think this is a standalone, and I remember B was talking about this on her channel and just sounded really interesting. So, Lady Hawksworth, your husband is not dead. With these words, Laura's life is turned upside down. Her unhappy, loveless marriage has ended when the Earl of Hawksworth was lost at sea. But now a man stands before her, virile and powerful, who says he's her missing husband, revealing secrets that would Only he would know why this dark-eyed stranger closely resembles the Earl. He is attentive and loving as Hunter was cruel and cold, promising to make Laura his wife once again in every way. With every beat of her heart, she aches to believe that this remarkable man is who he claims to be. But is he truly the rake returned and reformed, or is Laura being seduced by a cunning imposter? So, yeah, really excited to have that on there. And we're almost there. So then we got an orange. So again, mystery or thriller, and this is YA or middle grade outcast because we got Lilo and Stitch there. And so for this one, I almost went with A Lots Away, but it just didn't quite fit, and so I wasn't able to get that on. But I got another one that I'm really interested in, and they're kind of very similar themed. So I'm happy, and I'm going to be reading The Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Boley. And so this one really fits. So 18-year-old, so young adult, Dunnis Fontaine has never quite fit in, both in her hometown and on a nearby Ojibwe reservation. She dreams of a fresh start at college, but when a family tragedy strikes, Dunnis is put her future on hold to look after her fragile mother. The only bright spot is meeting Jamie, the charming new recruit on her brother Levi's hockey team. Yet even as Dunnis falls for Jamie, she senses the dashing hockey star is hiding something. Everything comes to light when Dunnis witnesses a shocking murder. Um, Thrusting her into an FBI investigation of a lethal new drug. Reluctantly, Donis agrees to go undercover, drawing on her knowledge of chemistry and Ojibwe traditional medicine to track down the source. But the search for truth is more complicated than Donis imagined, exposing secrets and old scars. At the same time, she grows concerned with an investigation that seems more focused on punishing the offenders than protecting the victims. Now, as the deceptions and deaths keep growing, Donis must learn what it means to be a strong, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, but basically an Ojibwe woman, and how far she'll go for her community, even if it tears apart the only world she's ever known. So it's an electrifying thriller layered with rich exploration of the modern native experience and a reckoning of current and historical injustices, and a powerful celebration of community. So perfect for this prompt, which is why I had to switch over. Lots of Way would have kind of worked because she sees a murder as well, and she's trying to uncover what happened, even though the town doesn't want her to. So there's that. Then we pulled a yellow, which we couldn't move. And then we pulled an orange, which we couldn't move. Then we got a red, which got us to the North Pole. And for this one, we got Cinderella, which was to read an inspiring read. So that was the choice there. And so for this one, I'm going with Children of Fallen Gods by Carissa Broadbent, which is book 2 in the War of Lost Heart series. And I went with this, because Tasana was a slave and she had to overcome a lot in the first book. And same thing with Max. Like, they both have a very dark past, yet they always managed to keep going. Max, Tasana kind of pulled him out of his slump. But to me, that's kind of inspiring, and that's one of the things I like about Cinderella is no matter how dark it gets, she keeps going. And so I think this series fits for that. And so yeah, in the first one, Tasana's a slave, and she goes to buy her freedom, and the slaver kind of turns on her, and then she makes it to the orders, and she's planning on figuring out her powers and such, and then going back and freeing the slaves. And then in this one, there's kind of a war going on. That was part of the deal she kind of made, is to help the orders with this war. And so we're seeing that continue in this book. So then we had 2 unusable discs. So we need just a book that represents number 2 in some way. So for this one, I chose The Dragon's Promise by Elizabeth Lim, because this is the second book in the duology. So second book and a duology, it works perfect. And I'm really excited to read this one. So like I said, in the first book, you had the main character, Shiori, and her brothers were cursed and turned into 6 crimson cranes, and she was cursed not to be able to speak, and nobody could recognize her. She had a bowl on her head. So in this one, she's kind of going on a journey now, with uh, one of the dragon characters from the first book, and so they're kind of going on a journey, and I'm really, really excited to see where this takes us. So there's that, and then of course the last book, which I already talked about, was for my genre-thon, which winter is part of that as well, but we have The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien, so I'll be reading that as well. So that takes me to the 20 books. So a lot. I was not able, like I said, I switched a Lots of Way Out for Firekeeper's Daughter because I just thought it fit the prompt better. So I wasn't able to get this one on there, and I wasn't able to get Lyrail on there either. I don't think I'll be able to squeeze these in, so these will be priority for May. I'll try to really get these ones on May's TBR for sure. So we'll see what I can do there. I will have one more. I don't know it now. I'll try to insert it here, but I have been participating in Autism Reads, which is a read along put on by Christine at An Autistic Reader. And so I will insert that here, whatever the book is. I am going to try to read that as well. I've so far only read one book. I'm excited for the second book. I'm going to be reading it here shortly, within the next few days. So really excited for that as well. And so I do plan on continuing. So that will be 21 books. Hopefully it's a shorter one. But like I said, a lot of these should be really quick reads. A lot of them are young adult or middle grade-ish. And so it should be fairly quick reads. I'm keeping my fingers crossed anyway. So yeah, that's it. Let me know if you've read any of these, if any of these are on your radar, and what you're most excited to read in April. I know this TBR video always comes out, a couple weeks in advance, but I like to give myself plenty of time and kind of beat the rush of all the TBR videos. So definitely let me know if you have any thoughts on your own TBR so far, what you're going to be reading and what you're most excited for, or if any of these books you've enjoyed or are on your radar. But I'm going to go ahead and call it there. Happy reading, everyone. Bye.